Perfect. Today's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be offered by the one and only Jerry Katz.
If you'll bow your heads and take on an attitude of prayer as we pray to a supreme being. Today, we thank you for our blessings as you see fit to gift us. Today, we are concerned for ourselves, and we are especially concerned about others in our nation and your world. So today, we pray that you will give our leaders at the local, state, and national level the wisdom to act with civility and to remember their jobs and obligations. We pray that our leaders will remember who they are and whose they are. We pray that they can leave their ego at the door. We ask these things with humility, but with confidence. And to this, we all say, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag
to the flag
of the
To the flag
United
of the
States
United States of America,
and to
to
the
the
republic
republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Let's see here. Is Teresa on? I don't see her. So I will introduce guests. And today we have two that I can see. One is our Assistant District Governor, Wolf Lance. Let's give him our one clap welcome. 1, 2, 3. I messed that up. Next time we're going on 3.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Wolf.
And we also have Peter McRae from the Worthington AM Club, right? Yes.
That's correct. Yes.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's a little bit better. Peter. Our program today will be introduced in a little bit, I believe, by Andrew. But first, we have our sergeant. Phil, would you like to ask for happy dollars or go around? You're on mute.
Better turn your mic on, Phil.
Thank you, George. And can you hear me now, George?
Yeah, I can find it.
Yep. But because of your great smile and your happiness, obviously, you'll get to carry the pot and put a dollar in yourself to start today. So thank you, George, for being there and for subscribing. Any other happy dollars that anybody would like to participate? And let's see what it all is. Okay, yeah, Pete.
I have one.
Oh.
Go ahead, Pete.
I have $2 happy dollars that I'll pay when we see each other next Wednesday. Judy on Monday morning took a 6 o'clock flight to Sarasota to her home there for 7 days. She'll be back on Saturday. I'll pick her up noon on Saturday. Her daughter and granddaughter from Ashland, Oregon, have been living in our Florida condo because of the smoke and the fires of Southern Oregon, Ashland, Oregon area with Klamath Falls to the east and others to the west, and Mount Shasta still spewing lava on the south down in Northern California. And our granddaughter, who's a freshman in high school at Ashland High School, attends at 10:30 or 11 Eastern time because that's 10:30 or 11 Pacific time, and she loves getting the extra sleep in the morning and attending school after she wakes up. So $2 happy dollars for Judy going down and visiting while they're still there for a few more weeks, and then Judy and I'll be driving away in 2 weeks from now.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Pete. George, did you want to contribute another dollar?
Yeah, Sue had a knee replaced on Friday, and she's recovering. It's a slow process, but she's recovering and doing well.
That's great. That's great. Be a good nurse, George. Anybody else? Oh, yes, Peter, welcome.
I have a happy dollar. I was giving a seminar to the Texas Society of Architects from Thursday through Sunday, flying Southwest Airlines to San Antonio.
Whoops.
And coming home, I didn't miss any of my 2 flights nor the connection. So that is my big happy dollar. I could have been stranded in Texas still.
That's a miracle.
And Steve, let me know when announcements happen. Thanks, guys. And I'll give somebody $1 somewhere.
Yep, sometime we'll get you sometime, but we really don't get bucks from guests, but under the circumstances, we will later. And anybody else for happy dollar? Steve, President?
Yes, I have a happy dollar. I always forget the happy dollars, and but Max, my son, he's 5. He started playing soccer this year for the first time, and he was getting just, demolished. He's a pretty small kid, but in the last couple of weeks, he's started to do much better. He's really kind of getting in there, and he's scrappy, and he got his first goal.
Oh, wonderful.
First actual goal last weekend. So that was a good feeling.
Very good. Very good. David?
Yes, sir. Just a happy dollar. I'm happy to report that Dave Hansen and I spent a productive and fun-filled week. He spent a week and I spent 2 weeks in the Dominican Republic. I can here to tell you that our projects are robust. The relationship is fine. And behind me is the Yaqui del Norte River in the Guayabin, Dominican Republic, where we visited a banana farm. But anyway, everybody sends their regards, and projects are doing well.
Thank you very much, both of you, and for everything that you've done to represent Dublin Worthington Rotary in a, as Jerry would say, in a civil and worldly manner. So thank you.
Greg, Phil?
Yes, John.
Phil, I was happy to watch Jennifer Best last night at a candidates night sponsored by the PTA Council. And I was very proud that she did a great job in presenting her candidacy. She's been on the school board for 20 years. And so she has all that experience and knowledge, and it really showed off. So congratulations to Jennifer for doing a good job last night.
Agreed.
Thank you, John.
Oh, Jennifer's here. Good. That I heard as well, Jennifer. So congratulations from other than John. So the morning walk yielded good things in downtown Worthington for you. That's good.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any other happy dollars?
Oh, this is Rachel. I'm happy that the City of Columbus Council passed my legislation to get into contract with Woody Nolan to start the Senior Creative Campus, but that's in the newspaper today that passed, and that's my project in the Near East Side. And I'm excited about getting to work on that.
Congratulations for that victory, but also for the concept and the hopeful conclusion and creativity for others. Any other happy dollars? Seeing, excuse me, Wolf.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I've got a happy dollar for finally joining you guys again. It's been a long time. And also a dollar fine for going to the wrong conference room a few weeks ago and missing your meeting. So anyhow, I'll pay next week. Thank you.
Wolf, as I said to Peter, we don't normally find those who are guests, especially other Rotarians. However, the two of you deserve it, and we will expect that in the pot when we meet next week. So thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I defer to Steve, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Phil. Great job. Moving right along here, let's go to announcements, and we'll start with Wolf, and then we'll go to Peter.
Good morning again, everybody. Just wanted to remind you of a few dates coming up. World Polio Day is October 24th, so hope you have some events planned to raise money for that effort. On
on November 7th, there is a district recognition event, which is the recognition of all clubs in our district for whatever awards they might be eligible for. That is at the Hofbrau House starting at 4:30 p.m. It includes dinner around 5:30 and awards shortly after. $25 if you'd like to join us. It's open to anybody, but it's primarily for the leadership for last year. So Jim, if you can attend or send someone in your place, that would be great. I don't know if you guys are up for awards, but I would think that you likely are. So anyhow, and let's see, the RI convention is June 4th through 8th. I think we only have another week or two for registration. If you want to join the district in the block of hotel rooms that they have reserved, in another week or two, they'll probably be releasing those. So that's in Houston. We do have quite a few district people going, as well as other club presidents. So if you can join them, you'll be among friends and people you know. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wolf. Peter?
So anytime I stick my nose in amongst you guys, you know that it must be time for another fundraiser. So we had Jeff from your club at our club last week. We this year are going to have a big chili cook-off showdown, and we're going to do it with Zoftic Brewery at their Huntley Road location. We have a whole bunch of guys in our club that think they can cook. I am not one of those, but I'll be at the Zoftig bar with my flight of their latest beers to try. I don't know who wants to join me for that, but this is the day of the Browns-Bengals game, which will be on the entire time that we're there. So we have football to watch, we've got beer to drink, and we've got some hopefully good chili to try. I think they're promising that the range of chili is going to be broad, pushing the definition of chili. So that should be interesting. So I hope you guys will join us. It is on Sunday, November 7th at 12, and it'll be during the course of the whole football game between the Browns and the Bengals. So that's my pitch. Find me what you will, and I'm happy to pay. Thanks for giving me the time, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Peter. And if you have any like a flyer or anything you want to send it over, we can make sure.
Yes, we do. It's this flyer here, and I will send it to someone in your club to distribute. And I appreciate that very much. Thanks, guys.
You. Anybody else with announcements?
Yes, I have an announcement because this Saturday, which is of course a bye game for Ohio State, is our food drive for the Dublin and Worthington food pantries. And so we need just a few more volunteers. I'd like to have at least one for the Kroger store. And that's on West Bridge Street. And also I need a couple more for Oakland Nursery. Now, I know you think the weather is going to be poor because it's going to be raining. And it may rain, or then again, it may not rain. But all of our locations are actually undercover. And so please let Andrew know so we can have a good turnout and help our neighbors. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any other announcements? I'd like to add that this is our last Zoom only breakfast meeting going forward for the foreseeable future. Roger's clapping, Phil's clapping, Pete's clapping. For the foreseeable future, you know, temporarily until, you know, maybe through the winter, through when COVID dies down even more, or maybe when Trillium lets us back in. We're just going to stick with lunches for logistical reasons, for consistency reasons. So next week we will be back to lunches and hybrid. All right. Pull up my script here. I think we've covered all the announcements. So I think at this point we are ready for our speaker, who Joe Patchen will introduce for us. Joe, you're on mute.
Well, what I was saying was, gosh golly, where is that? Or something to that effect. So if you'll bear with me one moment. Andrew was hoping to be able to introduce our guest because he was kind enough to bring him to us. And now I'll be lucky if I can find that. So Tina Gannon is the president and founder of School Rocks Party Box, and she's going to tell us about what they do. But they serve 4 elementary schools and over 1,200 children. So without further ado, I think she's going to do a much better job of explaining their mission and how they carry it out. Thank you, Tina, for joining us.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me today and allowing me to share our mission with all of you. Can all of you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a little distorted, a little kind of overdriven, but I think it's okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you have the ability to turn down your microphone, but if not, it's fine.
Okay, everybody should see my screen now.
Yep.
Great. I am Tia Gannon. I'm the founder and director of School Rocks Party Box. And let's get started. So back in 2016, I woke up one morning and I posted on Facebook, just very randomly. I had a first and third grader at the time, both boys, and I was very involved in their school. And I just went out on Facebook and said, I'm looking to partner with a school teacher who teaches in an underprivileged elementary, just to provide holiday parties. For some reason, I thought I'd talk to a teacher or something guided me in this direction to see what the response would be. And as you can see, I got 136 comments of people saying, we don't have parties in our classrooms. We don't have funding. We don't have PTOs. We don't have parent participation. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Parties are such a great part of my kids' school experience. So right then, I gave it a name. I envisioned doing classroom parties in a box, showing up at the school, and hence the name School Rocks Party Box. So we got started. I got into the classroom, started having classroom parties in Columbus City schools, began talking with the teachers and the school administrators, social workers, school counselors, which they all have in the schools, to identify the needs of the students. And I just began building relationships, showing up, reaching out on Facebook, saying, does anybody have this? And donations started showing up on my front doorstep that I would then share with the schools. So what I discovered after being there for a long period of time in these schools, talking, there's no PTO. And I don't know if any of you were ever involved in PTOs, but they're one of the largest sources of funding for all the things that make school fun and enhance the education. Limited parent participation, lack of funding for programs that the schools are required to do, but they don't have the money to reward the children for accomplishing their goals. The inability of families to provide the basic necessities like personal hygiene items and school supplies due to financial circumstances. So teachers were spending their own money to buy these things for their students. And lastly, I think the most shocking was that the school experience that my children were having in Dublin was nothing like what these kids were experiencing. So that day, after a year of being in the schools, our mission was defined: to provide children with the necessary items and programs that support their educational and social emotional needs, making school a more positive and rewarding experience. So how did we get to where we are today? We started determining who we wanted to work with and how we wanted to support them. My husband, Mark Gannon, was the past president at the time, was president of the Dublin Food Pantry. So he said, let's establish a 501c3. Excuse me. So that way we could get grants, be a little bit more recognized in the community. So he handled that side of it. And at that point, my job was to determine what schools we were going to work with and how we were really going to help these kids who desperately needed our help. So today, 5 years later, we serve 4 elementary schools with over 1,200 students. North Linden Elementary, Forest Park Elementary, Baby Park Elementary, and St. Mary Magdalene One Catholic Church. Our school that we support, they're located in the Hilltop where the majority of the students attend with the Ed Choice Scholarship. So what do we provide? After years of working with the schools, we determined that these children need school supplies to start the year off. They need books. Many of these children have no access to books at home. Games and puzzles, indoor recess, anything like that, these children had nothing to do. Personal hygiene items. Our children were showing up to school and not having access to toothbrush, toothpaste, items like that. And classroom parties. What a huge part of my children's school experience, and even mine, remembering back of decorating Valentine's Day boxes and celebrating holidays. And then lastly, funding school-wide programs. So school supply kits. We provide each and every one of our 1,200 students with a school supply kit, as pictured on the screen there, with everything they need to be successful the first day of school and all year long. To date, we've distributed over 6,000 school supply kits since 2016. These are some of the letters. I'll read one of them because it's, to me and to many people, a school supply kit or a pair of scissors don't seem that big, but to these kids, it means almost everything. It says, thank you for my pencil box. I am using it very nicely and with respect. It means a whole lot for the give, glue and pencils. Thank you for donating it to us. It really means a lot. You are so kind to us. It's amazing how much love you can spread. Thank you so much for all of this stuff. This is just a sample of the hundreds and thousands of letters I get from these kids, seeing what an impact our mission is making. Free book fairs. This is one of our most exciting times. COVID has put a little bit of a wrench in given us the ability to go into the schools, but we've combated that with making classroom boxes for the students. We host free book fairs, kind of like the traditional scholastic book fairs that schools set up, but these children don't have money for books. So we collect books by doing neighborhood drives, elementary school drives, partnering with local organizations that donate books. And we allow the kids to come in classroom by classroom, and they get to select 2 books to keep as their very own. Some of these, like I said before, are some of the first books that these children have ever had access to in the house. And since 2016, we've provided over 20,000 books to the 1,200 children that we serve. Classroom games and puzzles. This was a big one. Never really thought much about what kids did during indoor recess, or if there was a lockdown in their community due to a violent situation going on outside. What were these children supposed to do inside? So we donated over 800 games and puzzles to over 60 classrooms. The one picture outside there, we even donated sidewalk chalk, so the kids did have an opportunity to do something a little bit additional rather than playing soccer or football in the fields. Personal hygiene items. again, it was really difficult for me to imagine the children didn't have access to these things. And how can we expect a child to be successful in school if they don't have the most basic items to make them feel good about themselves? In addition to that, 2 of our schools that we serve, St. Mary Magdalene and North Linden, do not have air conditioning. So that need for personal hygiene items such as deodorant and things like that were even greater. And with the COVID pandemic, we had to make a lot of changes to our program, and one that we supplied hand sanitizers, and we actually partnered with an Eagle Scout, and he made over 600 masks for the kids that we serve. Supporting and funding programs. This is where it got fun. We started supporting and funding school-wide programs that were not possible. There's something called PBIS. If you look it up online, it goes into more detail, but it's basically it's a state mandated program that is required for schools to do in their school, is to kids that are good school citizens, are respectful, make good choices, and show up to school. They're required to do this program and announce the kids who qualified, but they have no funding to reward these children. And I think that kids, especially these kids that may or may not have little guidance at home, need those confidence builders. So back in the day, pre-COVID, we brought in magicians, we had dance parties, we had carnivals, and these kids would come up and say, "This was the best day of my life. I've never gone to a carnival before." And just thinking something so small can mean such a big thing. And again, another letter. Thank you so much, Miss Tia, for taking care of our school. You make us so happy doing things for us. Holiday parties. Research suggests that superior learning takes place when classroom experiences are fun and enjoyable. They get to interact with their classmates on a fun level. Down here you can see a classroom party we did for Halloween. We have school-wide Valentine's Day parties where we provide Valentine's Day cards for the kids to give to their friends. Cookie decorating. This is one story that really hit home for me. We were decorating cookies and the kids were kind of looking at me for guidance on how to decorate a cookie. And I said, well, first you put the icing on and then you put the sprinkles. And the little boy raised his hand and said, "Miss Tia, what are sprinkles?" And I thought, well, that's a little thing you sprinkle on your cookie that's candy. So again, just introducing these things and new activities and things that they're not getting at home. And then up in the far right-hand corner, that's my husband dressing up as Santa Claus to deliver gifts to the kids. And school is not school without teachers. So we have implemented a big teacher appreciation, baking cookies, filling their break room with items that have been donated, going around with a kindness cart and just thanking them. The teachers wear very many hats, especially lately during the pandemic. So it was really important to us to make sure that they know that they are appreciated. For this year, in the past, we did an Adopt a Child program where we picked the top, about 10 kids from each school along with their siblings and purchased them Christmas gifts. This year, we are so excited to launch our biggest project yet. We are planning on giving a holiday care package and gift bag to all 1,200 of the kids we serve. Winter hats and gloves, which we used to do as part of our Keep Warm kits that we did for all of our children. So they will get a new winter hat and a pair of gloves. They'll get a book to read over the holiday. They'll get an activity book to keep them active and busy and give them something to do, along with a package of crayons. We will be getting donations for small toys, playing cards, Play-Doh, Matchbox, and then the most basic items that these kids don't have access to: toothbrush, toothpaste, a bar of soap, chapstick, and finally a pair of socks. So people always say, how do you fund all this? And do you get paid? And I say, well, of course I get paid. Every single time I walk into a school and a little kid runs up and says, Miss Tia, and smiles at me, that is my payment right there. And our biggest community support comes from kids helping other kids. It's important to me as a parent to have my kids helping other kids who need that little extra support. So I partner with children in our community to do collection drives and fundraisers through elementary schools, scout troops, youth groups, community support with civic and social organizations such as yourself, talking to businesses and individuals to collect and assemble the items that we need or to fund our current school programs. We take monetary donations through the Columbus Foundation. We provide volunteer opportunities, a little bit less now that during COVID with our inability to go into the schools as often, but we still give those as well as service hours for teens. We raise money by corporate donations, gift matching programs and grants, and Amazon Smile and Kroger Rewards. And to me, this is what our community support looks like. Kids collecting school supplies for other kids, collecting socks. The one little girl, for her in lieu of birthday gift, she collected books from her friends. There's a gentleman there selling masks for his Eagle Scout program. There's a ladies' church group that's assembling keep warm kits with hats, gloves, and chapstick. So I think this is just one of the many ways that we get our community involved. And off to the right are some of the companies that have helped support us over the years. And lastly, how can you help? You can spread the word about our mission, School Rocks Party Box. Our website, www.schoolrockspartybox. Our most up-to-date information is on our Facebook group for those that are on Facebook. In-kind donations. Everything that we've collected, and it's over $95,000 of items of in-kind donations, have all been donated through our front porch. We have a bin on our front porch. Monetary donations, again, through grants, companies that may donate to nonprofits, and also through the Giving Store. So that is a little bit about me, what we've been doing the last 5 years. And I am so honored to be here today to share with all of you what our mission is and how we help those underserved kids in our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Tia. That was, very inspiring just to see that you've created from nothing, this idea in 2016 to now that you're serving 4 schools and 1,200 kids and getting all these items. And it's quite impressive. I was curious, can you talk about, kind of the meta of it, like the process from going from an idea to where you are today? Like, it seems like it was a lot of work.
It was. I think when I tend to process things in my head for a while, so it seemed like a really quick idea. I had to go back to find that Facebook post. I went out on Dublin Moms in the Know, which is a very active moms organization or Facebook group in Dublin. And I just thought if I could start with a Dublin mom or a Dublin dad that's a teacher in an inner city school, wouldn't that be great to just partner with them? And that was kind of all I expected. But then the comments were so heart-wrenching to think that these kids weren't getting even close to the experience that my kids were getting. And that was just on the party level. It's when I got into the school and really sat with the kids and talked with the administrators. Over time, I just started thinking, this isn't okay. I'm coming home to my two kids who at the time were in first and third grade. And I don't know about any of you, but if you've gone into a school party, the spread of food is enough for the whole school. The goodie bags and the prizes, everybody giving teachers $25 gift cards. I mean, those things were not, it was a completely different classroom experience. The teachers were happy to have the kids come to school to find out they had no books. I mean, I get a flyer every month from my kids to order a Scholastic book, and I was ordering one. And these kids had no books. School supplies. How it kind of started was going to my kids' elementary school at the very end of the year and taking all the leftover school supplies, delivering Trader Joe's bags to each of the classrooms, and kids just literally dumped their school supply kits because they had all that stuff at home. They were just going to dump it in the trash can. Dump it into a Trader Joe's bag. So I was getting like 25 or 30 Trader Joe's bags of partially new, partially used, and we were picking out the crayons that were good enough and pre-packaging them into little baggies is how we started. But then we finally got enough community support and putting it out there and telling this message like I'm telling you, and going to elementary schools and saying, when you get up in the morning, what can you imagine not having? iPads, my telephone. And I was like, whoa, let's bring it down. How about if you didn't have anything to eat? How about if you couldn't brush your teeth? How about if you're a fifth grader, you're going through puberty and you don't have deodorant and your school doesn't have air conditioning? So then the kids were like, oh, I get it. So it's really getting in front of people, telling the message, and to share that message is really what's so impactful. Because you can't really imagine, I mean, a couple of my schools have showers because kids don't have access to that at home. And they get assigned times during the week to shower. They have washer and dryers. Their kids, their clothes, they're given new clothes or donated clothes so they can wash the clothes they've worn all week. I mean, 20 minutes out from my house. It's a whole different world.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for your presentation today.
You're welcome. If anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I tried to keep it around 15 minutes, but I tend to talk a lot.
Have you thought about expanding your program?
I have over the years. When I started doing books, I was getting such a large amount that I was in other schools. I was just doing book fairs, but I was really holding on to my 4 partner schools very tightly and doing everything for them, and then doing a book fair here and there. But what I finally decided was I was one person, and my schools that I was serving were still not where my kids were. So why don't I take those 4 schools and just give it 110%. It may take years for them to get what my kids are getting. But let's focus on those 4 schools. Instead of doing book fairs once or twice a year, I'm giving them 2 books like 4 times a year. So let's give them toiletries all throughout the year. Let's have classroom parties for more holidays. So it was more, and plus you start to develop these relationships. You know, these kindergartners are now 5th graders. So you really start to know these children. And without PTOs, I mean, none of these things were happening. So yeah, I would love to expand at some point, but we have a lot of growth and fundraising, and we just don't have the money to expand beyond our 4. A great question. It's something we thought about.
Is it part of your goal to get a PTO up and running at these schools?
No, because that just won't ever happen. I mean, we are the PTO.
Yeah.
We are, PTOs rely on the funding from parents, and they don't have it.
Right.
That's what PTOs are funded by parents who have the funds to give and the time to give. And neither one of those things is going to happen there, sadly. So that's why we're here.
Makes sense. Unfortunately, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to at some point. I have lots of ideas of elementary schools in Dublin and Worthington adopting one of my schools and sharing that money in the funds. And right now, like Kroger Rewards and Amazon Smile, those are a lot of, most parents have that going to their home school, but it's like, I know schools have $70,000 to $80,000 in their PTO budgets for this year. That's more than we've ever done in the 5 years spent and collected 5 years we've been in existence. We're a relatively budget funding. I'm a good bargain shopper, and that's helped host a party for 300 kids for about $300 or $400 tops. So I'm going to do it on a budget. It doesn't take a lot to go a long way.
Any other questions? All right. Well, Tia, again, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Again, very inspiring. I'm in awe, like, that you were able to pull this off just with, one person and one idea, and now here it is. So,
well, it's definitely not by myself. I mean, the community support is unbelievable. My doorstep, even last night, I have this big, huge bin on our front porch with a lid on it. I mean, there's the days where I couldn't even open my front door. My whole porch is I have a very wonderful, loving husband that does not mind. This is my dining room behind us. And it is all the way, all of my stuff, plus my storage unit in the basement.
wow. That's awesome.
So,
that's encouraging.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and it's the best. And it's only going to get busier with the holiday gifts coming up.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Our speaker next week will be MJ Shackelford. She is our district governor. So please make every effort to attend next week to hear what she has to say. And now I think we're ready for the 4-way test. Mr. Mark Beaver. All right. Of the things we think, say, and do, first, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Second,
Is it
Is
fair?
it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will
it build goodwill and better friendships?
and fourth, will it be
Will it
Be
beneficial?
beneficial to all concerned.
Thank you, everybody. It's good seeing you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. We are adjourned.
Take care.
Hey, George. Oops. Hey, George. I can't hear you, George.
Okay.
Hey, so how's Sue doing?
She's coming along pretty good. It's pretty painful. And but she's doing a good job and it's healing. She had a pretty bad knee and good surgeon.
Good, good. I'm going to see Dr. Ruan today.
Oh, okay, and I gotta talk to your wife too, John, about the acupuncture. Is she up?
Yeah, she's upstairs. George, let me see.
I'll
if
call
she-
her.
Okay. Thank you,
I'll call
George.
her.
Thank you.
Okay.